Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This great law is the foundation of all personal achievements. There exists within you an untapped reservoir of infinite potential, a sleeping giant waiting to be awakened. This force, this internal empire, is the true source of all power you will ever need to transform your existence from ordinary to extraordinary. The greatest minds throughout history, from Edison to Carnegie, from Disney to Lincoln, all discovered this fundamental truth. External achievement begins with internal conquest. What you hold in your hands right now is not merely information. It is the master key to unlocking the vault of your destiny, the world you see around you. Every building, every innovation, every fortune began first as a thought in someone's mind before it materialized into physical reality. This is the essence of the creative process that governs our universe. The thoughts you harbor in the private chambers of your mind are silently shaping the contours of your life. With unwavering precision, they are the architects of your circumstances, the sculptors of your destiny. What you think about consistently, you bring about persistently. This is not mysticism. This is the practical operation of your mind's creative mechanism. Consider for a moment the magnificent structure of a cathedral. Before the first stone was laid, before the first worker arrived at the site, that cathedral existed completely and perfectly in the mind of its architect. The physical building merely followed the blueprint that had already been created in thought. Your life operates by the same principle. The blueprint of your existence is being drawn by your predominant thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. These invisible forces are more powerful than any external circumstance you may currently face. Many individuals live their entire lives, never realizing that they are the architects of their own experience. They believe themselves to be victims of circumstance, pawns of fate, subject to the whims of chance and the decisions of others. Nothing could be further from the truth. Such thinking is the great tragedy of human potential. Millions living in the basement of their capabilities while the penthouse remains vacant. You were designed for excellence, engineered for achievement, and constructed for contribution. The empire within you is built upon pillars of thought, chambers of belief, and foundations of purpose. When aligned properly, this internal infrastructure creates an unstoppable force that can overcome any obstacle and achieve any worthy goal. Napoleon Hill spent decades studying the most successful individuals of his era, from Andrew Carnegie to Thomas Edison to Henry Ford, and discovered that their external achievements were merely reflections of their internal empires. They had mastered themselves before they mastered their domains. The ancient philosophers understood this truth when they advised, "Know thyself." This is not merely poetic wisdom, but practical instruction for anyone seeking achievement. Your internal empire, your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and decisions, creates powerful vibrations that attract corresponding circumstances into your life. Like attracts like, energy attracts similar energy, success attracts success. This is why those who think abundantly tend to live abundantly, while those who think in scarcity perpetually experience lack. As you absorb these words, something profound is already beginning to happen within you. Seeds of transformation are being planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Your internal empire is awakening to its true power and potential. The question is not whether you have this power, you do. The question is whether you will claim it, harness it, and direct it toward worthy aims. Will you take the throne of your internal kingdom and rule with wisdom and purpose? Or will you abdicate your power to external forces? The journey ahead will require courage, persistence, and an unwavering belief in your own potential. It will demand that you shed limiting beliefs like a snake sheds its skin, completely, and without reservation. It will ask you to step into a new vision of yourself, one that may feel uncomfortable at first, but which reflects your true nature more accurately than the small version you may have accepted in the past. This journey of self-discovery and self-mastery is the most important voyage you will ever undertake. Consider this moment a line of demarcation in your life, a clear boundary between your past and your future. Everything that has happened until now has been preparation. Every success, every failure, every joy, every disappointment, all of it has been leading you to this moment of awakening. Now is the time to take full ownership of your internal empire and direct its immense power toward your highest aspiration. The world is waiting for your unique contribution, your distinct voice, your special gift. Your thoughts are magnetic forces. Every thought you entertain sends vibrational signals into the universe that attract corresponding experiences into your life. When you understand this principle deeply, you realize the awesome responsibility you have for what you allow to occupy your mind. Your thoughts are not passive observers of your life. They are active creators of your circumstances. Guard the gates of your mind with vigilant attention, allowing entry only to those thoughts that support your highest vision. Think of your internal empire as the command center, from which all your life's experiences are generated. From this control room, you broadcast signals that determine what manifests in your external reality. Are you broadcasting signals of limitation or liberation, of scarcity or abundance, of fear or courage? The signals you send determine the experiences you attract. This is not philosophy. This is practical psychology applied to the achievement of your desires. The richest soil on earth cannot produce crops if no seeds are planted. Similarly, the most powerful mind cannot create success without the seeds of definite purpose. You must define with crystal clarity what you wish to achieve. Vague wishes produce vague results. Specific intentions coupled with burning desire produce specific achievements. Napoleon Hill discovered that all great achievements begin with definiteness of purpose, a clear target that ignites passion and mobilizes resources. Consider Andrew Carnegie, who rose from poverty to become the richest man in the world. His empire of steel began as an empire of thought. His fortune was built first in his mind before it materialized in physical form. He understood that ideas, when acted upon with persistence and faith, become things. Your ideas, those precious children of your imagination, are seeking expression through you. They come knocking at the door of your consciousness, asking to be given life through your actions. The most powerful force in the human personality is the desire for self-expression, to become in the outer world what you sense yourself to be in your inner world. This desire for self-actualization is the engine that drives all achievement. When you connect with your deepest desires and align them with service to others, you tap into a wellspring of motivation that can sustain you through any challenge. Your internal empire thrives when your personal ambitions harmonize with contribution to the greater good. There exists a tragic gap between what most people are and what they could be. This gap represents untapped potential, unrealized dreams, and unmanifested possibilities. Bridging this gap is the work of personal development, the continuous expansion of your internal empire to accommodate greater achievements and more profound service. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every challenge you overcome expands the territory of your internal kingdom. The mind operates onto distinct levels: the conscious and the subconscious. Your conscious mind is the gatekeeper, choosing which thoughts to accept or reject. Your subconscious mind is the fertile garden where these thoughts take root and grow into the circumstances of your life. By directing your conscious thoughts with intention and emotion, you program your subconscious mind to work tirelessly toward the realization of your desires, even while you sleep. This is the secret of harnessing your full mental potential. Consider Thomas Edison, who failed 10,000 times before inventing the practical electric light bulb. What sustained him through these apparent failures? It was the unwavering faith in his internal empire, the absolute certainty that the solution existed and that he would find it. Your internal empire must be built on the bedrock of faith, not wishful thinking, but that deep knowing that comes from understanding the laws of mind and their practical application to the challenges of life. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. When faced with challenges, do you ask disempowering questions like, "Why does this always happen to me?" Or do you ask empowering questions like, "What opportunity is this challenge presenting?" The questions you habitually ask direct your focus and shape your perception. Your internal empire expands when you ask questions that open new possibilities rather than reinforce limitations. Your mind's creative power operates through imagination. Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited while imagination embraces the entire world. The construction of your internal empire requires active use of both your analytical and creative faculties. Logic builds the structure while imagination furnishes it with possibilities. Both are essential. The most successful individuals in history were those who could dream big dreams and then methodically bring them into reality. Consider Walt Disney, who was once fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. He went on to create an empire of imagination that has brought joy to billions. His internal empire was so powerful that it continued to grow and expand even after his physical passing. This is the legacy of those who develop their internal power to its fullest expression. Their influence transcends time and continues to impact lives long after they are gone. The accumulation of financial wealth without the development of internal wealth leads to emptiness and dissatisfaction. True prosperity encompasses all dimensions of life: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Your internal empire must include the development of character, integrity, compassion, and wisdom. These qualities provide the foundation for lasting fulfillment. Money amplifies who you already are. It makes a good person better and a shallow person more superficial. Build your character first, and material success will follow with greater meaning and purpose. Persistence is the bridge between desire and achievement. No worthy goal is achieved without encountering obstacles. These obstacles are not your enemies. They are your teachers. They reveal the areas where your internal empire needs strengthening. Each challenge overcome expands your capacity to achieve. The oak tree grows strong not in spite of the winds that buffet it, but because of them. Similarly, your character develops not by avoiding difficulties, but by confronting them with courage and determination. Consider Abraham Lincoln, who failed repeatedly in business and politics before becoming one of history's greatest leaders. What distinguished him was not an absence of failure, but a refusal to be defined by it. Your internal empire must include the ability to extract wisdom from setbacks and to maintain faith in your vision despite temporary defeats. Persistence is not stubbornness. It is the intelligent pursuit of your objectives with the flexibility to adjust your approach based on feedback. The company you keep profoundly influences the development of your internal empire. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to grow, who believe in your potential, and who hold standards that pull you forward. Distance yourself from those who feed your doubts, who reinforce your limitations, or who are satisfied with mediocrity. Your environment either lifts you toward your potential or pulls you away from it. Choose wisely those with whom you share your time and energy. Your habits are the building blocks of your destiny. What you do consistently forms the structure of your life. Small actions, repeated with regularity, accumulate into massive results over time. The construction of your internal empire requires disciplined attention to daily habits that align with your highest vision. Successful individuals are not those who occasionally take heroic actions, but those who consistently perform the small disciplines that compound into extraordinary achievements. The capacity for delayed gratification is a cornerstone of achievement. Those who can sacrifice immediate pleasure for long-term gain position themselves for uncommon success. Your internal empire must include the strength to make difficult choices in the present that create your desired future. This is not deprivation, it is strategic investment. Every time you choose what is important over what is merely urgent or pleasurable, you strengthen the foundations of your internal power. Consider Henry Ford, who persisted through multiple business failures and the ridicule of those who said his ideas were impossible. He maintained an unwavering focus on his vision while being flexible in his approach. Your internal empire requires both steadfastness in purpose and adaptability in method. The world changes rapidly, and those who succeed are those who can hold their vision constant while pivoting their strategies to align with current realities. Fear is the great enemy of your internal empire. It erodes faith, paralyzes action, and distorts perception. Yet fear itself is not your enemy. It is your response to fear that determines whether it becomes a barrier or a catalyst. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Every time you act despite fear, you reclaim territory in your internal kingdom that had been occupied by limitation. Your power grows not by eliminating fear, but by acting in its presence. The quality of your communication with yourself determines the quality of your life. The internal dialogue you maintain Those private conversations you have with yourself about yourself shapes your beliefs, expectations, and actions. Many people sabotage their potential through negative self-talk, constantly affirming limitations and doubts. Your internal empire flourishes when you speak to yourself with the same encouragement, belief, and compassion you would offer to someone you deeply love. Consider Eleanor Roosevelt, who transformed herself from a shy, insecure person into one of history's most influential women. She famously said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Your internal empire remains sovereign only when you refuse to surrender your self-concept to the opinions of others. You must be willing to maintain your vision of yourself even when others fail to see your potential or recognize your worth." The physical body is the vehicle through which your internal empire expresses itself in the world. Neglecting physical health limits the expression of your mental and spiritual capacities. Energy is the currency of achievement, and your physical vitality determines how much energy you have available. For pursuing your goals, a comprehensive approach to success includes attention to nutrition, exercise, rest, and stress management as essential components of personal power. Gratitude is the attitude that amplifies abundance. When you appreciate what you already have, you create a mental and emotional state that attracts more to be grateful for. Scarcity thinking leads to scarcity experiencing. Abundance thinking leads to abundant living. Your internal empire prospers when you maintain an awareness of the blessings already present in your life while working toward greater achievements. Gratitude transforms what you have into enough while creating space for more. Consider Oprah Winfrey, who rose from poverty and abuse to become one of the most influential and wealthy women in the world. Her journey began with a change in her internal empire, a decision to be grateful for her present circumstances, while working diligently to create something better. Gratitude does not mean complacency. It means acknowledging your current blessings while maintaining a vision of greater possibilities. The ability to focus your mental energy is a superpower in a distracted world. Your attention is the most valuable currency you possess. Where you place your attention determines what grows in the garden of your mind. Scattered attention produces scattered results. Concentrated attention produces remarkable achievements. Your internal empire expands its influence when you develop the discipline to direct your mental energy toward your highest priorities. Despite the multitude of distractions competing for your awareness, your beliefs about what is possible for you create invisible boundaries that either confine or liberate your potential. Many people are living within self-imposed prison cells of limiting beliefs, ideas about themselves and the world that restrict their achievements. Your internal empire can only expand to the degree that your beliefs allow. Identifying and challenging limiting beliefs is essential work for anyone committed to personal growth and achievement. Consider Roger Bannister, who broke the 4-minute mile barrier that experts had declared physically impossible. Once he shattered this limiting belief, numerous other runners accomplished the same feat within a year. Your internal empire operates according to what you believe is possible. When you expand your beliefs about what you can achieve, you automatically expand your capacity to achieve it. Belief precedes evidence, not the other way around. The power of decision is the starting point of all achievement. Until you make a committed decision, cutting off all other possibilities, the forces of your internal empire remain dormant. Decisiveness is the opposite of procrastination. When you develop the habit of making clear decisions and acting upon them promptly, you activate resources within and around you that move you toward your objectives. With gathering momentum, the universe responds to decisiveness with support. Your capacity to visualize desired outcomes with clarity and emotion accelerates their manifestation. The subconscious mind responds powerfully to mental imagery, especially when charged with positive emotion. By regularly visualizing yourself already in possession of your desired achievements, feeling the emotions of accomplishment, gratitude, and fulfillment, you program your internal mechanisms to recognize and act upon opportunities that lead to those outcomes. Visualization is not mere fantasy. It is mental rehearsal for actual achievement. Consider Michael Phelps, who visualized every detail of his Olympic performances, from the start to the finish, including potential problems and his successful responses to them. This mental programming contributed significantly to his becoming the most decorated Olympian in history. Your internal empire includes a visualization chamber where you can rehearse success before experiencing it physically. Use this creative faculty daily to program your mind for excellence. Your word to yourself is the foundation of personal power. When you make a commitment to yourself and keep it, you build trust in your own capacities. When you break promises to yourself, you undermine the very foundation of your internal empire. Self-trust is earned through consistent follow-through on the commitments you make to yourself, especially when no one else is watching. Your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you will ever cultivate. The problems you face are not obstacles to your success. They are opportunities for your growth. Every problem contains a lesson and a blessing if you have the wisdom to extract them. Your internal empire expands through the conquest of challenges that demand your best thinking and strongest character. Rather than asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me? And how can I use this experience to become more of who I am capable of being?" Consider J.K. Rowling, who was rejected by 12 publishers before finding one willing to publish Harry Potter. She transformed the challenge of rejection into the opportunity to refine her work and her approach. Your internal empire grows stronger when you reframe obstacles as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. This shift in perspective transforms victimhood into empowerment and complaints into creative solutions. Your present circumstances are the result of past thoughts, decisions, and actions, not a verdict on your potential. No matter where you stand today, you can begin constructing a more expansive internal empire that will manifest as improved external circumstances tomorrow. The past does not equal the future unless you choose to live by the same thoughts and habits that created your past. You can begin a new chapter at any moment through the power of choice. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your life. When you ask better questions, you receive better answers from your own mind and from the world around you. Replace "why can't I" with "how can I." Replace what's wrong with what's right and how can I build on it. Your internal empire expands when you consistently ask questions that empower rather than disempower, that focus on solutions rather than problems, and that assume possibility rather than limitation. Consider Steve Jobs, who asked, "How can we put 1,000 songs in your pocket?" rather than accepting the limitations of existing technology. This question led to the iPod and revolutionized the music industry. Your internal empire thrives on questions that challenge assumptions and open new territories of possibility. What questions are you asking that could lead to breakthrough thinking in your own life? Your emotional state determines the quality of your decisions and actions. Learning to master your emotions rather than being mastered by them is essential to building a powerful internal empire. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions, but rather directing them intelligently. Emotions are energy in motion. When channeled properly, they provide the fuel for achievement. When allowed to run wild, they can sabotage your best intentions. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is often a matter of the conversations you're willing to have. Many people remain stuck because they avoid difficult conversations with themselves and with others that could lead to growth and opportunity. Your internal empire expands when you develop the courage to initiate and navigate conversations that matter, even when they create temporary discomfort. Growth happens at the edge of comfort, not in its center. Consider Nelson Mandela, who had the difficult conversation with his captors that eventually led to his release and the transformation of South Africa. Your willingness to engage in challenging dialogues, addressing unresolved issues, setting boundaries, requesting support, offering feedback, determines your capacity to create change in your life and in the world around you. Avoidance may provide temporary comfort, but leads to long-term limitation. Your attention is the most valuable resource you possess. What you focus on expands in your experience. If you focus on problems, they grow larger. If you focus on possibilities, they multiply. Your internal empire prospers when you develop the discipline to direct your attention toward what you want to create rather than what you want to avoid. This is not positive thinking as much as it is strategic thinking, allocating your mental energy where it produces the greatest return. The most valuable skill in the modern world is the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. In a rapidly changing environment, fixed knowledge quickly becomes obsolete. Your internal empire maintains its relevance and power through continuous growth, not just adding new information, but also being willing to release ideas and approaches that no longer serve you. Intellectual flexibility combines with principled living to create sustainable success. Consider Warren Buffett, who reads for 5 to 6 hours every day despite his enormous success and advanced age. He understands that learning is not something you complete, but something you practice throughout life. Your internal empire remains vital and influential to the degree that you maintain a passionate curiosity and commitment to growth. The day you stop learning is the day you start becoming obsolete. Regardless of your past achievements, the quality of your life is largely determined by the quality of your relationships. No achievement brings fulfillment if it comes at the cost of meaningful connection. Your internal empire includes chambers of compassion, generosity, and love that find expression through your relationships with others. Success without someone to share it with creates wealth without worth, balance, ambition with attention to those who matter most. The words you speak create ripples of influence that extend far beyond your awareness. Language is not merely descriptive, it is creative. The phrases you habitually use shape your perception and influence your actions. Your internal empire grows in power when you eliminate disempowering language and replace it with words that affirm possibility, responsibility, and intention. Instead of "I'll try," say "I will." Instead of "I have to," say "I choose to." These subtle shifts in language create profound shifts in your sense of agency and power. Consider Winston Churchill, whose powerful oratory helped save Western civilization during its darkest hour. He understood that words create worlds. Your choice of language, both in your internal dialogue and your communication with others, shapes the reality you experience. Choose words that create the internal and external conditions that support your highest vision, rather than reinforcing limitations or feeding fears. Your sense of identity, who you believe yourself to be, creates the boundaries within which you live your life. Many people operate from an identity constructed from past limitations and others' expectations, rather than from their true potential. Your internal empire expands when you consciously craft an identity aligned with your highest aspiration and deepest values. This is not pretense, but recognition of your full capabilities, many of which may lie dormant until you claim them through an expanded self-concept. The capacity for deep work, concentrated, uninterrupted focus on challenging tasks, distinguishes exceptional achievers from average performers. In a world of constant distraction, the ability to immerse yourself completely in important work creates tremendous competitive advantage. Your internal empire grows in power when you develop the discipline to engage in deep work regularly, protecting your attention from the countless diversions competing for it. Consider Cal Newport, who built an exceptional academic and writing career by prioritizing depth over breadth in his work. Your internal empire thrives when you value quality of attention over quantity of tasks. Multitasking creates the illusion of productivity, while actually diminishing the impact of your efforts. Focused attention on fewer, more significant objectives produces superior results with less stress and greater satisfaction. The habit of completion, finishing what you start, builds momentum that propels you toward your goals with increasing velocity. Many people sabotage their success by starting many initiatives, but completing few. Your internal empire gains power through the consistent practice of carrying projects through to completion, creating a success pattern that your subconscious mind recognizes and reinforces. Completion creates confidence, and confidence accelerates achievement. Your relationship with uncertainty determines your capacity for growth and innovation. Those who require complete security and certainty remain confined within the boundaries of the familiar. Those who can embrace uncertainty as the price of opportunity position themselves for extraordinary achievement. Your internal empire expands when you develop the courage to act without guarantees, understanding that all growth requires venturing into unknown territory. Consider Jeff Bezos, who left a secure Wall Street job to start Amazon in his garage. Embracing the uncertainty of entrepreneurship, your willingness to step into the unknown, to take calculated risks in pursuit of meaningful goals, determines the ultimate scope of your achievements. Security is largely an illusion, and the pursuit of certainty often leads to stagnation rather than fulfillment. Growth and certainty are inversely related. The way you start your day largely determines its quality and outcomes. The first hour after waking sets the tone for everything that follows. Your internal empire gains momentum when you establish morning rituals that align your mind, body, and spirit with your highest intentions before the demands of the day fragment your attention. This sacred time, whether 15 minutes or 2 hours, provides the foundation for exceptional performance and presence throughout your day. Your capacity to maintain focus on your vision despite setbacks distinguishes you as a person of achievement rather than merely potential. Many begin the journey toward their dreams, but abandon the path when challenges arise. Your internal empire gathers strength with every test of your commitment, each time you choose to persevere despite difficulty. You declare to yourself and the universe that your desire is greater than your discomfort, your purpose stronger than your problems. Consider Elon Musk, who faced near bankruptcy with both Tesla and SpaceX, yet maintained his focus on his vision of sustainable energy and multiplanetary human existence. Your internal empire grows in proportion to your ability to maintain clarity of purpose through the inevitable storms of the achievement journey. Vision sustained through adversity has transformative power that extends beyond your individual life to impact the world around you. The beliefs you hold about money profoundly influence your financial circumstances. Many people harbor unconscious, negative associations with wealth that sabotage their financial success. Despite their conscious desires, your internal empire includes your relationship with prosperity, the beliefs, emotions, and attitudes you maintain about abundance and scarcity. When you align your financial blueprint with your conscious intentions, you remove invisible barriers to the prosperity you seek. Your physical environment both reflects and influences your internal state. Disorder in your physical space creates subtle cognitive friction that drains mental energy and reduces effectiveness. Your internal empire functions with greater power when supported by an external environment that reinforces your values, priorities, and aspiration. Creating spaces that energize rather than deplete you is not merely aesthetic but strategic. Consider Marie Kondo, who transformed millions of lives through the simple principle that our spaces should contain only things that spark joy. Your physical environment is not separate from your internal experience, but an extension of it. When you intentionally design your surroundings to support your best self, you create conditions that naturally elevate your thinking, emotions, and performance. The capacity to receive feedback without defensiveness accelerates growth and achievement. Many people remain stuck in familiar limitations because they resist information that challenges their self-concept or comfortable habits. Your internal empire expands when you develop the emotional security to welcome feedback as valuable data rather than personal criticism. This openness to growth-oriented input creates a continuous improvement cycle that compounds over time. Your relationship with failure determines your ultimate success. Those who fear failure remain safely within known territory, sacrificing growth for comfort. Those who recognize failure as essential education position themselves for extraordinary achievement. Your internal empire gains wisdom and strength through unsuccessful attempts that provide invaluable insights unavailable through any other means. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a component of it. Consider Thomas Edison, who said of his thousands of unsuccessful attempts to create a working light bulb, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Your perspective on setbacks, whether you view them as verdicts on your capability or as valuable feedback on your approach, determines whether they become barriers or bridges on your path to achievement. The most successful individuals have usually experienced more failure than those who achieve little. The stories you tell yourself about your life, its meaning, its challenges, and its possibilities create the framework within which you live. Many people limit their potential through disempowering narratives about why they can't achieve their dreams. Your internal empire thrives when you consciously craft empowering interpretations of your experiences that highlight your resilience, capacity for growth, and unlimited potential rather than reinforcing limitation or victimhood. Your capacity for presence, full engagement with the present moment, determines the quality of your experience and the effectiveness of your actions. Many live perpetually distracted by regrets about the past or anxieties about the future, missing the only moment in which they can actually take effective action. Your internal empire operates with maximum power when you develop the discipline to bring your full attention to the task or person before you. Engaged in the creative process of this moment, consider mindfulness teacher Jon Kabat-Zinn, who transformed the lives of countless individuals through teaching the power of present moment awareness. Your ability to be fully present, to engage completely with the person or task before you without internal division, creates a quality of experience and result impossible to achieve through fragmented attention. Presence is not merely spiritual practice but practical power. The quality of your sleep profoundly influences your cognitive function, emotional resilience, and physical vitality. Many sacrifice this fundamental biological need in pursuit of productivity, not recognizing that inadequate rest diminishes the quality and impact of their waking hours. Your internal empire requires proper restoration to function at its peak. Quality sleep is not indulgence, but investment in your capacity to create, decide, and perform excellently. Your level of self-awareness, understanding your patterns of thought, emotion, and behavior, determines your capacity for intentional change. Many remain trapped in unconscious patterns that sabotage their conscious intentions. Your internal empire expands through the light of awareness, illuminating previously unconscious aspects of your thinking and behavior, bringing them within the sphere of choice rather than compulsion. Consider psychologist Carl Jung, who observed, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Your journey of self-discovery, becoming aware of the beliefs, fears, and desires that drive your behavior, transforms seemingly external fate into internal choice. This awareness creates the space between stimulus and response where your true power resides. The clarity of your values creates the foundation for meaningful achievement. Without this clarity, you may climb the ladder of success only to discover it's leaning against the wrong wall. Your internal empire thrives when built upon the bedrock of principles and priorities that reflect your authentic self rather than others' expectations. Success without fulfillment is failure, and fulfillment comes from achievement aligned with your deepest values. Your capacity for compassion toward yourself and others creates the emotional foundation for sustainable success. Achievement driven by self-criticism eventually collapses under its own psychological weight. Your internal empire functions harmoniously when powered by self-compassion rather than self-condemnation. This is not lowering standards, but creating the emotional conditions that support meeting the highest standards without destructive internal conflict. Consider psychologist Kristin Neff, who demonstrated through research that self-compassion promotes greater resilience and achievement than self-criticism. Your internal relationship, how you speak to yourself when you fall short of your ideals, determines whether setbacks become opportunities for growth or triggers for shame and disengagement. Treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a good friend creates the security from which true excellence emerges. The quality of your questions determines the direction of your focus and the possibilities you perceive. This empowering questions like "Why does this always happen to me?" create mental loops that reinforce victimhood and limitation. Empowering questions like "What opportunity does this challenge present?" direct your focus toward possibility and solution. Your internal empire expands through the consistent practice of asking questions that open new territories rather than reinforcing familiar limitations. Your courage to face uncomfortable truths accelerates growth and achievement. Many remain trapped in comfortable illusions that protect their ego while limiting their potential. Your internal empire gains power through radical honesty, with yourself first and then with others when appropriate. This commitment to truth creates the foundation for authentic growth, meaningful connection, and sustainable success. Consider Ray Dalio, who built the world's largest hedge fund on principles of radical transparency and truth-seeking. Your willingness to seek and face reality as it is, rather than as you wish it to be, positions you to address challenges effectively rather than merely managing their symptoms. Truth may create temporary discomfort, but leads to lasting empowerment. The environment you create around yourself, both physical and social, powerfully influences your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Many underestimate how profoundly their surroundings shape their experience and potential. Your internal empire thrives when supported by an environment that reinforces your highest aspiration rather than triggering your lowest tendencies. Creating conditions that naturally elevate your thinking and behavior is not manipulation, but wisdom. Your relationship with technology determines whether it serves as a tool for your advancement or a distraction from your purpose. In an age of constant connectivity, maintaining sovereignty over your attention has become essential to achievement and fulfillment. Your internal empire maintains its power when you use technology intentionally rather than allowing it to use you through unconscious habits of consumption and reaction. Consider digital minimalist Cal Newport, who demonstrates how selective engagement with technology creates the space for deep work and meaningful achievement. Your ability to set boundaries around information consumption and digital interaction preserves the mental bandwidth necessary for creative thought and focused execution. Technology serves you only when subjected to conscious choice rather than unconscious habit. The practice of deliberate rest, strategic disengagement from work, paradoxically increases productivity and creativity. Many drive themselves relentlessly, not recognizing that the most valuable insights often emerge during periods of mental relaxation. Your internal empire functions optimally through rhythmic alternation between focused engagement and strategic disengagement, creating space for the incubation of ideas and the restoration of energy. Your beliefs about personal identity, whether fixed or malleable, profoundly influence your approach to challenges and your capacity for growth. Those with a fixed mindset see abilities as largely static, while those with a growth mindset see abilities as developable through effort and learning. Your internal empire expands when you embrace the truth that your capabilities are not predetermined, but continuously evolving through dedicated practice and persistent effort. Consider psychologist Carol Dweck, whose research revealed how profoundly mindset influences achievement across domains. Your beliefs about whether your intelligence, personality, and talents are fixed or growable create either boundaries or pathways for your development. Embracing a growth mindset, the understanding that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work, unlocks potential that remains dormant under the limitations of fixed thinking. The clarity of your personal vision creates a magnetic pull toward your desired future. Without this clarity, your efforts lack direction and your motivation wanes in the face of inevitable challenges. Your internal empire gains momentum when you can articulate with precision what you are working to create, not merely in terms of external achievements, but the quality of life and contribution you envision. This vision becomes the star by which you navigate the journey of your life. Your capacity for strategic patience, maintaining commitment to your vision while accepting that meaningful achievements require time, distinguishes those who create lasting impact from those who chase fleeting results. Many abandon worthy pursuits because results don't materialize quickly enough, not recognizing that significance often requires sustained effort over extended periods. Your internal empire builds enduring power through the practice of patience, coupled with persistent action. Consider Warren Buffett, whose extraordinary wealth came not from rapid speculation, but patient investment over decades. Your willingness to plant seeds today that may not bear fruit for years positions you for achievements of significance rather than merely immediacy. Strategic patience is not passivity, but the wisdom to recognize that some outcomes cannot be rushed without compromising their value. The development of metacognition, the ability to observe your own thinking processes, creates the foundation for intellectual autonomy and continuous improvement. Many remain captive to unconscious thinking patterns that limit their perspective and choices. Your internal empire grows in power as you develop the capacity to step back from your thoughts, examining them objectively rather than being unconsciously directed by them. The ancient philosophical instruction, to know thyself, takes on new meaning in the context of building your internal empire. This self-knowledge is not static, but evolving, a continuous discovery of your strengths, limitations, values, and potential. As you expand this understanding, you simultaneously expand your capacity to direct your life with intention, rather than operating on autopilot. This journey inward is not self-indulgence, but practical empowerment. Consider Socrates, who declared that the unexamined life is not worth living. Your willingness to engage in honest self-examination, to understand your motivations, patterns, and possibilities, creates the foundation for authentic achievement. Without this self-knowledge, you may pursue goals that belong to others, or conform to expectations that don't align with your true nature. Your internal empire thrives on alignment between your outer actions and your inner truth. As we conclude this exploration of your internal empire, remember that you stand at a critical juncture. Before you lie to paths, one of unconscious living, reacting to circumstances, drifting with social currents, and accepting artificial limitations. The other of conscious creation, directing your thoughts with intention, aligning your actions with your values, and continually expanding your conception of what's possible. The choice between these paths determines not just what you will have, but who you will become. Your internal empire is not something you need to build from scratch. It already exists within you. Your task is to recognize its presence, understand its operations, and direct its immense power toward worthy aims. The thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold, the emotions you cultivate, and the actions you take are the building blocks of this empire. When aligned with purpose and governed with wisdom, they create a force that can transform not only your life, but the world around you. Remember that every great achievement in human history began as a thought in someone's mind before it manifested in physical reality. The cathedral began in the architect's imagination. The symphony existed first in the composer's mind. The business empire was conceived in the entrepreneur's vision. Your dreams, those precious children of your imagination, are seeking expression through you. Will you grant them life through your courage and persistence, or will you allow them to die unborn through fear and procrastination? The power is yours. The choice is yours. The future is yours to create. Your internal empire awaits your command.